Hello folks, welcome to my YouTube channel, Watercolor Impressions. This week we're going to take a reference from Toronto and I'll show you how to paint loosely in watercolors. Before you go, hit the subscribe button so you guys can get weekly video updates from our channel. And let's get started, guys. As always, I will start my drawing with a really light. If you can see, you can't even see the drawing because I don't try to put the darker marks in a watercolor paper. But whereas if you want to block out, you can block out the darker areas with a little bit of shading in it, so it's easier for us to put the darker tones on top of it. I'll fairly admit that this is quite a complex subject because there's a lightest light and there's a darkest dark, and there's also a mid-tones which is kind of on the light side and the dark side. So in watercolors, this is a little bit difficult to capture it, whereas in other medium we can paint over it and fix it. Whereas in watercolors, it can be challenging, but I'll do my best. But this painting is about painting loose, so it's not about lighting or shadows. So when it comes to painting loose, the reason behind painting loose is it's a free form of expression. So you can paint freely without thinking about anything, and it also makes the painting process really enjoyable. When I started painting, I tried to be really tight with all my strokes as well as with every brush strokes or every lines I put. But there's one thing which helped me to express myself really freely in watercolors or any other medium I use is painting loose. So one of the simplest way to painting loose is to simplify your scene. Don't think about, just think everything as a shape and capture the shape in the least amount of brush strokes, and that will help you to do the painting really fast, and it also make everything less stressful as well. You can also go back and check the painting process, how I quickly painted everything. You can see it kind of looks like everything as a single shape from the mid side to all the way to the right hand side. And you can also see I also try to combine the car as one shape as well, in a way that we can it also helps the painting process easier as well. And you can see I also have the lighter values, and I'm also not having everything every objects exactly where it is. I moved everything, and you can also see when I try to put a mark, it's just one mark. I'm not trying to go back and try to fix it. It's just one stroke and that's it. And this way your painting will look loose. Even if this painting is seen from far, it will give that realistic look and a photographic quality. So one thing to keep in mind when painting loose is to try to capture the light as much as possible. And you can see even the shadow I'm painting, it's just one fast shape and that's it. I'm not trying to do anything else, and I'm not trying to be really accurate to my reference as well. I'm also making up the shadows as I go, but I'm also trying to capture the essence of the scene as well. And you can see the one thing you have to notice in any scene you can do, you have to study where the lighting and shadow appears. You can see in this reference the lighting and the shadow is from the front side, whereas the shadows are sitting on at the back. So that way it's easier to put the shadows and make up the shadows as you go. And you can see I'm also adding this the sign at the top. It's one brush stroke, and before it dries out, I'm trying to add the mid-tone, like a little bit of shadow on it. I also add a couple of directional lines to take the viewer into the painting. Now I'm adding some headlights for the car. And this is one of the beautiful things that happens in nature, or that's how the world exists, is to add that the headlights on the car. And that also gives the color variations and the color where it is in our painting as well. Since it's my painting is wet, I try to take a little bit of painting because there is the light is happening on one of the car in the foreground. So even for the street lights, you could see I did a single stroke. I'm not trying to go and fix it. I leave it as it is, and that's the loose painting comes in handy. And you can see it also shows a little bit of confidence in your painting as well when you paint loose, and it also gives like one quick stroke like that, and that shows everything about it. And if you make a mistake, just leave it as it is, don't try to fix it. Even the lines I put in, the directional lines for the streetcar, Even I put it on the left hand side. I left it as it is because I know that that's how the loose painting style comes for. And you can see I'm also adding the flag, which also adds a really good silhouette for the scene on our painting. And you can see by adding that in a quick contour stroke, it also gives that loose painting style. So now it's a matter of fact of adding the tertiary details. So what I mean by tertiary details is the street signs, the lights, and you can see there is a laundry there, so I'm also adding that sign. And you can see this is what I was talking about, the lightest light and the darkest light, because you can see there's a lot of light happening on that sign, whereas in watercolors it's really hard to create that opaqueness once you paint something, whereas in other medium you could, and that's why I said it might be a little bit difficult to capture that as well. And you can see I'm also trying to, when you paint loose, there's one thing you have to keep in mind is to keep everything impressionistic as possible. What I mean by that is try to see whatever you can put. Once you squint your eyes, whatever you could see in your reference, add that in your painting, and don't add each and every details in it, and that will ruin the painting, and that will give a lot of tightness in your painting. Whereas if you paint impressionistic way as well as with quick confidence strokes, and that will show your confidence in your loose painting style. And I'm also adding this eyelets, and for adding eyelets I use Chinese white out of the tube with no water in my brush. It's a dry brush technique, and I'm trying to be adding this really fast, and because it's really hard to leave eyelets when you paint, and unless you're painting really big, because since this is a 9x12 painting, so it's really hard to leave everything. So I'm trying to bring back the eyelets by squinting my eyes, and wherever I see the eyelets, I'm trying to bring back the eyelets back in my painting. And it's a couple of marks on the cars, and you can see in a matter of seconds we try to capture a lot of things in our painting. And I'm also adding this orange wires, which is on the right hand side on the top. Whenever you see a color, it is necessary to add it in watercolors, because watercolors tend to go dull, and it is necessary as an artist to show a little bit of colors and vibrance in your painting. There are paintings I do which look a lot of grayish, even though there's a little bit of colorness, and I try to put some colors to pop up the scene. So you can see the cadmium yellow I added for the street lights, as well as there's a little bit of green for the streetcar sign as well. I'm added that as well, and there's a lot of red on the cars as well. So these are the things we have to add to enhance our painting. And you can see the painting, we capture the essence of the scene, as well as the painting look really loose, and yet it gives that it gives a realistic look in our painting. So now it's your turn. Take your reference and try to paint in a really loose way, in a quick, confident way. Even if you make a mistake, just leave it as it is, and that will show your confidence as well as painting in a loose style. Thanks again for watching this painting loose tutorial. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. If you have any other topics related to watercolors that you would like me to cover, please reach out to me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or leave a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for weekly uploads, and share with your fellow artists, friends and family, and good luck with your painting, folks.